Hello and welcome along to the third round of Lotus Cup Europe. This weekend keeps us in France in the Burgundy region. And of course, we're here at Magny Cours. Now the circuit is just over 2.5 miles and 17 corners are packed into that short space. So it's certainly going to make for some interesting racing this weekend. Qualifying has just finished, and for many of our drivers, it's the first time they've driven here at Magny Cours. But that certainly hasn't stopped our reigning champion Jeremy Lorenko being on top form, qualifying in pole position, and John Rass is keeping up his form as well, qualifying P1 in production class. So it's about that time that we go and catch up with the drivers and find out how they're feeling ahead of race one. Our reigning champion Jeremy, of course, qualified on pole position. Heading into race one, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I think we're going to have a good race. Next to my friend Xavier, who's hiding. We're going to do our best to win and get our team on the top step.
David McNulty just qualified in 7th position. Obviously a good qualifying, good start to the race here at Magny Cours. What's it like being here?
It's a very exciting circuit. Got a bit of everything, very, very fast corners and some really big, very fast decelerations.
Qualifying in 3rd position, that's a pretty good start to this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not been too bad. I've had a bit of a struggle with the car, with the brakes, but yeah, it was a bit of catch up, but yeah, we got ourselves up there, so it's been good.
The track conditions this weekend have been really good, dry. There was a bit of rain forecast for qualifying, but luckily it stayed off. The setup on the car has been quite tricky. We've had to play around a little bit with the rear suspension due to the fact that the tarmac, I've found, hasn't got a major amount of grip. But it's good, I've enjoyed it. I've never been here before, so it's just a big learning curve, really.
Now it's about that time where we have a look at the championship table. John Rass has had an incredible start to the season and of course puts himself on the top spot of that table for now. John Walker in a close 2nd place and last year's overall champion Jeremy Lorenko following a close 3rd. The 38 Lotus Cup Europe cars pull up behind me for the start of race one. Of course, it's a standing start this time round here at Magny Cours. Jeremy Lorenko on pole, and of course not forgetting that John Rass is P1 in production class. So it's time for me to move out the way and hand over to the racing.
A huge grid headed by Jeremy Lorenko, alongside him then Javier Georges. Then it's Gregory Rass and Christophe Lezondre on row 2. Nicolas Frère and Philippe Loup, a very rapid row 3 ahead of Nicolas Ibsen, 7th, a little bit lower than we normally would see him. Nicholas Walker likewise, plenty to do from 11th. Great to see Steve Williams up there though in 12th place in the Evora, and David Harvey will always make progress through the course of the race. Sven Pettersson and James McAnulty right to the fore of the Elise runners, just clear of Thierry Edouard in 27th. David McAnulty completing the top 30, and then it's Yves Kuruman and Kees First-Lois who round out the absolutely gigantic 38 car field. Lights go out and away we go. It's a great start from the blue car of Javier Georges. He jumps Jeremy Lorenko as they sprint towards the opening turn. It's then Gregory Rass who slots through into 3rd place. They will jostle for position a little bit lower down the order. Natalie Genu-Prache looking to make progress, as it's Javier Georges who has that advantage from the black and orange car of Jeremy Lorenko. We're in car with Christophe Lezondre, who got away well, running in 4th place as we head along the back straight en route to the Adelaide hairpin, one of the iconic corners here at the Magny Cours circuit. Just admire the absolutely enormous field as they pound towards the first big overtaking opportunity on the lap. Everybody jostling position in car with Lezondre. He's got Nicolas Frère challenging to the outside. Frère sprints past Lezondre as the Frenchman gets the power down, maintains 5th position. So they just roll through the undulations, then into this sequence of quite high-speed chicanes. Challenging layout, Magny Cours, always been very popular as a test venue. Of course, first hosted the French Grand Prix back in 1991, right through until the middle of the last decade, as Xavier Georges leads the way. Jeremy Lorenko, headlights ablaze, looking to stay with him, and then Gregory Rass in fairly hot pursuit. Then they get back to that fight for 4th between Frère and Lezondre, and then the next group of cars headed by Philippe Loup. on downhill then for Xavier Georges. It's been a good lap for Georges. Jeremy Lorenko maybe taking a little bit of time to get some heat into his tyres, because he has got Gregory Rass swarming all over his tail as they head down into this final corner. The one section of the circuit actually that's really changed since 1991, this little flick through the chicane that brings them on to the end of the lap. In car with Lizondra still embroiled in this excellent fight for fourth place with Nicolas Ferrer. This pair of them then head into the very fast left-hander that opens the lap before the never-ending right-hander that opens into the Estoril turn. There we see looking to side through, that's Nicholas Walker. Car 6 then a gap back to the squabbling Elises, and that's the beauty of the Lotus Cup Europe with 4 classes. There's always somebody to race with. We're in car with Jason McAnulty. The ES Motorsport driver has a good seesaw at the wheel. The Elise remains such a popular and enjoyable car. He's just behind the silver and black car of Sven Pettersson as McAnulty gets the power down nice and early, draws alongside Pettersson. Meanwhile, in fourth place, Nicolas Ferrer defending from Lizondra. Lizondra, the first of the 211s, has got Philippe Luc just beginning to close up onto his tail as well. So it's Xavier Georges who leads the way. Jeremy Lorenko getting into the groove of the race a little bit more, beginning to try and chase down Georges as they get on the brakes. Lorenko closes right up. Of course, Xavier Georges had a pretty wretched trip to Dijon-Prenois, bringing out the red flag in the first race. Great to see he and the car back in fine fettle this weekend as they head into another of these swooping chicanes. Be careful to mind the sausage curbs and the barriers, and then heavily on the brakes for the right-hander. Getting towards the closing stages of the lap, and Lorenko just beginning to close the gap down. They've got, though, Gregory Rass there in third place, staying with them in the Evora, so Rass very much in the mix. In car Jason McAnulty, there's David Harvey in the 340R, powering past Sven Pettersson. Harvey just makes a little bit of adjustment to his helmet as he jinks through the chicane. There is Philip van Pedevega at the back of that queue, and there we see Jason McAnulty still behind Pettersson. Meanwhile, in the front of the field, the battle remains as close as ever was, and they're now just beginning to put a tenth or two here or there on Greg Rass. The fight for fourth comes together very, very nicely. In car with Jean-Baptiste Loop, he's part of the next group of cars. The 211's such a good-looking car, very menacing as well. Always look like they're immense fun to drive. As David Harvey looks to make more progress, that's Phil Capstick just ahead of him. So the two British drivers adapting well to the Magny Cours circuit. Then we've got this fantastic fight amongst the production class runners, headed still by Sven Pettersson. The rest of the queue all forming up behind as they sprint along down this back straight on towards the Adelaide hairpin. Key overtaking opportunity, don't forget. And Pettersson knows that he covers the inside line. Nice to know it's the orange car of Max Alves to the outside, and Alves possibly under threat from McAnulty, who squeezes past him, and Alves then veers across the road, defending from some of the rivals just behind him. We go in car, meanwhile, with our second place runner, Jeremy Lorenko, who continues his close inspection of the rear spoiler of Xavier Georges' car. They've got plenty of time to play with here, don't forget. It's a 30-minute race in the Lotus Cup Europe, which means it's a little bit too long to be an out-and-out sprint, but it's not quite short enough to sit back and totally bide your time. But certainly in this opening sequence of laps, Jeremy Lorenko can content himself to work with Xavier Georges and ease clear of Gregory Rass, and once that job is done, then that releases Lorenko to really challenge his compatriot. So the pair of them propel into another lap. It's a pretty murky day in Magny Cours. Fortunately, though, the rain's staying away for the moment. There is Rass in third place. Then we've got this fantastic fight for fourth. Nicolas Ferrer still just clear of Christophe Lizondra in the next group of cars. And then it is Jean-Baptiste Loop who heads to the next train. And now Lorenko really beginning to apply the pressure. It's Xavier Georges as they head on towards the Adelaide hairpin. Likewise, you just wonder if Lizondra is going to be close enough this time around to challenge Nicolas Ferrer. Well, Lorenko can't make the move stick at the hairpin, so Georges maintains his advantage as he jigs onward with about a little bit behind. It's Nikolai Ibsen who is looking to make some progress. I don't think he could quite squeeze through and snatch the place. The leading duo continuing to do battle. And you can see that Jeremy Lourenco just using a little bit less road in comparison to Javier Georges. As a result, it means that he's just getting slightly faster exits from the turns, but he's not yet been able to really make that challenge for lead, but he's still got plenty of time remaining. The rest of the field sprinting through this leading duo. Breakaway, but you can now see as Javier Georges defends from Lourenco, Gregory Rass is just beginning to close the gap down a bit more. It's margins of 1/10 of a second here or there, nothing more than that. But this is one of the beauties of Lotus Cup Europe. You can have these really tense battles unfolding through the course of the race. So another lap reeled off and consigned to the history books. It's Javier Georges who continues to lead from Jeremy Lourenco here at Magny Cours. Gregory Rass is there in 3rd place and sticking with them. We are about to take a short break. Join us in a couple of moments' time as the action continues in Magny Cours.